Hola. Baños.
Baño.
Yeah. Yeah? Gracias. Permiso.
Last we left you, we were partying in Oyon, which finds us somewhere along Highway 110, stuck between a pack of rabid dogs and a box truck.
Come on, dude. I'm on a bike.
But since we're not versed in Peruvian statutes of limitations, we'll just leave it at that and continue riding north as quickly as possible. We started our ascent into the Andes, threading our way between Cordilleras Pichuicocha and Huayhuash into the Huánuco region. And fear not, we'll get that ugly 360 stick out of the way before too long, but not before a quick walk to one of the many glacier-fed lagunas dotting the roadside.
Look at that.
Which just so happens to be the perfect spot to send up the drone
Beautiful.
and give you a bird's eye view. The plan over the next few days was to continue north through Huara River Valley on our way to the Cordillera Blanca, with pit stops in Baños and La Unión, as well as a detour to Laguna Canrash, before backtracking to 3N, crisscrossing the southern sectors of Huascarán National Park into Chavín de Huántar. Not the direct route by any means, but certainly the scenic one. The Peruvian Andes are rich with both natural beauty and natural resources. Many of these roads and the small communities that dot them exist primarily to access and service the numerous polymetallic mines in the region, producing lead, silver, copper, and zinc. Great for the local economy, not so much for the environment, but such is life. All we know is that these roads, many of which are open to the public, and a few that aren't, provide access to some of the most stunning views in all of the Andes. The water.
What's that?
The water, it's so pretty.
Oh, it's amazing up here, isn't it?
It's like I could look at it all day.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
It's pretty. Today was going to be one of those days. that was short on miles and long on pit stops. And pictures. I'm starting to understand why Peru is Chad's favorite country in South America.
Look at that waterfall back there.
Yeah.
See it?
Yeah.
Woo!
And since we managed to download the drone's latest firmware in Oyon, we might as well take advantage of it.
Thank you.
Peru's Huánuco region, smack dab in the middle of the country, is punctuated by jagged alpine peaks and a number of multicolored lakes. The eastern Andes form what is called the mountain rim, along the edge of the high jungle regions, and serve as an important biological and cultural crossroads. Boasting the vestiges of Kotosh, the oldest known human settlement in the Americas, dating back to 4,200 BC. As well as Chavin de Huántar, in the neighboring Ancash region, a pre-Incan ceremonial center where Andean and Amazonian cultures collided. But more on that later. We departed Highway 110, taking the back road into Baños, our destination for the night. And in this case, the back road just so happened to be incredibly steep, loose, and rocky, which still wasn't enough to get away from the ever-present box trucks that serve double duty as rolling roadblocks. But eventually, we pulled into the unique and picturesque Baños along the banks of Rio Nupe.
Go take a look. I'll see if I can find it.
Where we received a warm welcome from the locals.
That's the policía.
Bienvenido a Baños.
Muchas gracias.
¿Dónde viene?
California.
California,
Sí,
Estados Unidos.
sí.
Qué bueno, qué bueno. ¿De cuánto es tu moto, el motor?
1000.
1000.
Sí. Necesito, pero mi esposa es muy gorda. All right, so what's going on? We can't leave?
No, the owner has the key for our bike and he's not here.
All right.
So
Common problem.
yeah, we have a cat though.
Every time we lock up our bike in one of these cocheras, we're at the mercy of whoever has the key.
Yeah.
And right now, we don't know where he is.
No.
But like you said, we do have a cat, so there's that.
That's our, what do you call it?
Consolation prize?
Yeah, there you go.
The next morning, after petting the kitty and tracking down the key for the cochera, we jumped on Highway 109 on our way to La Unión, approximately 50 kilometers to the north.
Buen día.
Buenos días, jóvenes.
Today would be a short ride, road construction and livestock notwithstanding, to the Vizcara River Plateau and Huánuco Pampa, a former Inca administrative center
Gracias.
located along the Capacñan, the empire's most important trade route, extending between Cusco to the south and Quito to the north.
Ooh, look at this stuff. Pavement. Inca's old city, this is where we're going.
Occupied from approximately 1460 to 1539, the city was abandoned after the empire fell to the Spanish, who found Huánuco Pampa both too cold and too remote to bother with. The city, once home to as many as 15,000, far off the tourist circuit and largely ignored, is the perfect place to get away from the tour buses and the crowds of the Sacred Valley. And as it just so happened, we had the place to ourselves, and a few locals. After the touring of the city, the taking of the photos, and the emptying of the bladders, we jumped back on the bike and dodged a few sheep before making the short ride into La Unión, where we called it an early day. We departed La Union and jumped back on Peru's amazing Highway 3N, which had just reopened 2 days prior, after a major landslide precipitated a weeks-long closure. A common occurrence in this part of the world, and one that completely waylaid Chad's original ride south through this very region some 5 years ago. Threading through intermittent road construction along the Urcumayo River Valley, we bid the Huánuco region a tearful farewell and crossed into the Ancash region. Chad's favorite region in his favorite country. But not before a quick detour, where Chad tried, unsuccessfully, to talk me out of my riding gear.
Yeehaw! Peruvian gate master.
You finally did it. You finally went skinny dipping. I didn't think it was ever going to happen, but if you were going to do it, no better place than this.
Better luck next time. We doubled back on the Carretera Antamina, named after the open-pit zinc and copper mine, one of the world's largest, at the end of the road. But Chad had his eyes set on something else, namely Laguna Canrash, which held a special place in his heart. It was also the backdrop for a feature he had written for Adventure Bike Rider magazine, as well as one of his favorite photos from his ride south in 2019.
This may not be exact, but it's pretty close.
After doing his best to recreate the photo,
Listo?
we rolled down the hill for a quick coffee and a biscuit, at the same spot Chad had taken shelter after nearly losing the Africa Twin, in an effort to bypass a series of landslides that had left him stranded in Chavín de Huántar, the subject of the magazine article. Good times indeed.
Not like the altitude.
place is definitely getting a sticker. I wonder if they're open. Oh, no, they're closed. Oh, man. Oh, somebody's here. Hola. ¿Abierto?
Sí.
Solo por café y torta.
Café.
¿Café? ¿Ya? Bien? Ah, perfecto, gracias. Uh-oh, Rose, what have you done?
One for me and one for you.
You're funny.
Cute.
Poor little guy.
After a bong and a blintz, a stroll down memory lane, and petting the kitty, we retraced our steps back to 3N, but not before stopping to admire a bit of the local mining equipment.
The size of those tires.
We're gonna need bigger tire spoons. Our run up the highway was brief, and we departed the asphalt onto Ruta 1251. One of the few roads Chad failed to ride on his previous tour of Huascarán, and spectacular in its own right. Crossing the southern sector of the park, this remote road is my introduction to the Cordillera Blanca, the largest tropical ice-covered mountain range in the world, our home for the next week, and arguably the most picturesque mountains in all of South America.